Welcome to the Astral Weather Report for July 24th through the 30th. I'm Jeremy Gene Wilson with the Light Army, and I come on here every 6 days to share with you the astrological influences that affect our behavior. So even though it's invisible energy, it affects the way you think, the way you feel, the way you respond to others, and rather than it show up as a surprise and create conflict and chaos for you in your life, it's something that you can be aware of, you can leverage to your benefit to continue achieving your outcomes. So the theme for this next 6 days is inspired influence. And the mental emotional forecast and what you can expect. This cycle really activates leadership through inspiration rather than authority. So your ability to influence others won't come from speaking louder. It will really come from communicating a vision that people genuinely want to follow. At the same time, there's this new wave of desire. You're going to feel your imagination begin to stir a little bit, and it's going to ask you to distinguish between fleeting excitement and meaningful possibilities. So people might just feel a stronger desire to lead or inspire others. You might feel new visions, new dreams, or ideas just start to emerge. There's just going to be an overall heightened increase of awareness of how your words influence people. Believe it or not, your words are the most influential aspect of your human nature, whether it's to influence yourself or influence others. Questions, direct focus, and the words we use help engage a vision of where we're going. So there's just a little more excitement this next 6 days about future possibilities. This is truly visionary leadership energy, and leadership it's not about being followed. It's about giving others a future they want to help create. They want to decide to go down the path that you're painting a vision for. So this week, this cycle, this transit teaches us that vision is what inspires people, and influence is what invites people to follow your leadership. The sun has moved into the 31st signature. This is the gate of influence, the gate of leadership, the gate of democratic power in human design. In the I Ching, we call it the hexagram of influence. So this can show up in kind of a shadow, distorted way, just leading for recognition, right? Wanting to be seen as a leader rather than actually leading. So this can lead to just seeking approval and validation. It can become speaking without actually listening, finding out people's perspective, how to achieve your actual outcomes. So the greatest way you can align with this energy is just through servant leadership, right? Truly showing up with the motive and the intention of everybody getting what they want, right? And achieving your acute mission, your acute goals by understanding the specific tasks and what's at hand for each person to give meaningful outcome, benefit, and progress toward that. So it's about humility and humble influence and earning trust through integrity. The core lesson of this gate overall is just that the strongest leaders are elected and chosen because they consistently serve. We typically want to elect somebody that understands our preferences, our needs, our desires, and the leader that has the greatest understanding of our collective desires and motives. That's the person that gets elected to lead. So this is paired and combined with the earth moving into the 41st signature. So in human design, we call gate 41 the gate of imagination, the gate of desire, the gate of new beginnings. In the I Ching, we call it the hexagram of decrease. So this can show up, where you're just pipe dreaming, where there's just fantasy without actual action, without reverse engineering. So you can begin taking the first step, chasing every desire, but almost aimlessly, and escapism. That's truly what this phase is about. The way to align with this is just like inspired vision. We call it finding triple wins, quadruple wins, where every single person gets what they want. Not just the organization or you, everybody achieves their dreams. So intentional dreaming, not just fantasy dreaming, like what's achievable versus, what would be an ideal, dream, something practical. So this is all about focusing your desire toward true meaningful creation. And the core lesson of gate 41 is just that every single meaningful creation begins with a clear vision. You can't go somewhere you can't first see in your mind. You can't step until you see where you're stepping. And so the things to avoid this next 6 days is just leading to be admired, validated, instead of serving the whole, right? Chasing every little exciting opportunity, every shiny object, versus speaking more than listening, right? And what I mean by that is, the greatest leaders listen. One of the greatest ways to show love and loyalty is to listen. Listen harder, listen beyond the words, and don't, this next few days, mistake fantasy for vision. Vision is a path that can be achieved, not just a pipe dream. So if you're seeking influence without earning trust, it's usually because the vision only includes you and how you benefit. That's where you got to engineer those triple wins. The greatest path to leveraging and getting the most ROI out of this is just cast a compelling vision. What I mean by compelling vision is, how does someone else win? If you don't sacrifice for what you want becomes a sacrifice. So if you want other people on the journey, if you want other people to walk on fire, help you achieve your vision, then you've got to help them see what is going to be a compelling motive for them. Definitely, like I mentioned, do more active listening. Listen before you lead. Inspire through genuine authenticity. Channel your imagination into real action. So reverse engineer what that path is and just take the first couple steps, even if that's sitting down, writing the plan, looking at the obstacles. I love the process that Jay Abraham created called OPOS. What are the outcomes? What are the problems in the way of achieving those outcomes? What are the obstacles in the way of overcoming those problems, and what are the potential solutions for those obstacles? So just channel your imagination into some action, even if that's just the first step. Lead with humility, lead with conviction, really care about everybody getting what they want on the journey. And my advice, just share one vision that inspires others, right? Paint a picture for others where they're winning, use a little NLP. Imagine reality where, like, what has happened, what is achieved. If you push through the hard work, it's the vision that pulls you through the storm. So write down one future you're committed to creating. Ask a lot more questions direct focus if you want to be more influential. Remember that questions direct focus of the conscious and unconscious mind, both yourself and others. Refine your leadership message for sure. What is the path you're leading people toward? What is your mission? What is your message? What is your method, right? And what are the means of offering that to the world? And last but not least, I would definitely just make a list too. One of the greatest ways to move down the road or, swim higher, elevate is you gotta cut some ties. You gotta cut a few ties to grow your roots. So what I mean by that is it's a game of addition by subtraction. Eliminate a distraction pulling you away from your larger vision. Couple questions to be with this next few days. What future am I being called to create? For me, I'm being called to create a future where I have more adventure, more freedom, more time with my family, while creating a greater impact for the world, whether that's in business or helping people achieve more satisfaction, more happiness, more joy, more fulfillment. That's a future I'm being called to create. And then another prompt for the external world is, how can my leadership inspire possibility instead of demanding compliance, right? Rules versus vision, right? Here's what we're doing, comply. I recognize this as a parent, how often I make this mistake. So consider that in business and parenting and relationships, anywhere you're leading a group. How can my leadership inspire possibility with vision instead of demanding compliance? That's the Astral Weather Report for this next 6 days. We will keep you posted on what we got coming up next. In the meantime, remember what you are, infinite love. Shine on. Bye for now.